But however, propaganda is propaganda. Data, on the other hand, doesn't lie. And clearly, uh, particular parties miscalculated and they made a bad bet. And now the markets are basically betting against them. When you're taking the kind of losses that particular parties have taken, it's impossible not to calculate the loss of life and all that very expensive hardware that's going to be very hard to replace when parties are dealing with sanctions against them. They can't even get semiconductors. So they're in a highly compromised position to the point that they actually have to ask other entities to come in and supply them with troops. You know it's a bad situation when 75% of your military is committed to a particular operation and you're getting nowhere fast. Um, the way it looks to me, the market is saying, look, we think this thing is going to come to a settlement and sooner rather than later. This is why you have a very large drop in the gold price, where you have a drop in the silver price somewhat. This is why the oil price has dropped way down, and that will ease some of the pain for some in various circles. Consequently, we can see potentially the light at the end of a particular tunnel. Uh, I must speak with the Minister for the Treasury and Budget on particular matters. With our new fiscal budget law about to come into effect, uh, the key relevant onto what would be uh, inflation over the next 14 Earth months, for give or take, as reflected in our next fiscal budget law. I think we did ourselves some serious justice with the last budget negotiations, taking inflation into account. However, even though back during deliberations phase, a discussion relevant onto the scenario that's happening now with conflict was not a factor. There were other factors that we were looking at that would be contributory to inflation or deflation. This particular conflagration was not actually part of that equation. So it's fair to say that where things are going, uh, parties are forced back to the negotiation tables. The difference is this time, parties are not making demands upon those that they are aggressing against. Now, instead of making ultimatums, they're looking for places where they can actually negotiate, which is the evidence that basically all those losses of equipment and all those losses of lives and all the hits that have been taken to their particular economy as a result of all those sanctions, they're starting to bite. And when you have parties as savvy as those defending are, they are they're savvy on the defense field, and they are clearly savvy in the propaganda game because they have literally uh, destroyed the aggressor when it comes to the uh, propaganda. All the videos of all their drones knocking out tanks, all of the videos of their anti tank missiles taking out tanks. They literally sunk three of their boats, and they don't have that much in terms of anti-ship missiles to begin with, but they've managed to take out three of the aggressors' boats. Again, not cheap. And when you look at all the helos that are down and all of the jet craft that are down, they've basically knocked out fuel trains that weren't just bringing fuel; they were also bringing in supplies and other equipment, and they've been wiped out. When parties are prosecuting raids on you at night and knocking out three of your helos on the ground, and they're knocking out your anti-air system, when they forced your Air Force to only fire from inside their own airspace, that's evidence, not propaganda, that you're losing. And that's why you're seeing parties come to the table now. And that's why you're seeing folks changing their tunes as they walk up to that table. Reality is starting to set in, and the markets have placed their bets.